We're here with Mayor Garcia, and today we're going to talk about the $22 million in ARPA funds, which, Mayor, that's the last installment from the federal government. Is that correct?
That is right. The last, what we're calling tranche.
Okay. And there was a community meeting not too long ago, and there were several ideas discussed on how that money can be used. And what I did not see, I did see the people from MIFA there, and I think that's very important. The Massachusetts International, I don't even know what MIFA stands for right now.
Massachusetts International Festival of the Arts.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
No
I didn't see a lot of like arts and culture as part of the conversation.
Yep.
And earlier you and I were talking and you said maybe there's a misconception. Please then educate me.
Yeah, not maybe misconception was the wrong word. So let me take it back.
Mm-hmm.
What we tried to do was to evaluate existing data that contributes to our what they call social determinants of health. And so that includes looking at the most recent Holyoke Hospital, the hospital Shana. Every 3 years, hospitals have an IRS mandate to do what they call a Shana. That stands for Community Health Needs Assessment. And there's a great deal of work that happens in that process that concludes their findings of what the health priorities are in a community. So we took that data. Then there was a business survey that happened not too long ago. And then there was a community-wide survey. And what was it? I think there was something else that happened. And so we took those tools, let's call them tools, and extracted the results of whatever the findings were of each of those tools. And we try to make sense of it. Now, in those tools, yeah, you won't see, these are tools that evaluate the health priority of the community or the institution, be it a business owner, the neighborhoods, or what the hospitals identified as top priorities. And no, there's no health that's more of a priority of another. Maybe a priority is a bad word, but there is more of a need in a particular health area than other areas. Because the goal was, not just with the ARPA money, but with CDBG and even how we fund departments, was to understand what those community health needs are so that we're appropriately strategizing and how we streamline resources to help advance or improve these areas. So yeah, when we shared that and did the exercise that we did that day, it didn't mean that arts and culture is not in the picture and is not important. We're not going to do it. That was just to help further evaluate and prioritize what we learned, what the community through these different tools is saying the health needs are, and how we can align to make sure that we're hitting these targets. And quite frankly, a lot of these health needs, can be, when you talk about arts and culture, so, can help, we can take a program and support arts and culture that will help advance a health priority. So it's all interconnected.
Right.
So I think the community just black and white looks at it. Where's arts and culture? I don't see it. It doesn't mean we're not going to support efforts, but here are what we know the top health issues are. And if someone proposes a project with arts and culture that helps advance or improve community health, there's some connection there. But Mayor, it wasn't at all, I didn't want people in the public to think that what happened that evening, whatever comes out of that process is going to be the direction that we're ultimately going to go. It's only my way of getting my finger on the pulse.
Mayor, because I see there are interesting things happening in terms of arts and culture in the city. There's the artery that opened up on High Street that's open a few days a week. Of course, the print project on Main Street has been there for a long time. Wisteria Hearst is the city's museum. And then of course there's MIFA. And then whatever programs are happening in the high school or projects are happening with other nonprofits, all using creativity as a way to express feelings and ideas and histories that in some ways can be healing. So, and
Think about that, right? So one of the topics at the community meeting was programs for our youth.
Mhm.
And so, or, incubator, small business support. There's an alignment here for things like the artery and arts and programs for our youth. So so we can tie that into supporting efforts that have to do with arts and culture. But the grand scheme, everything that we do in local government, everything is directly tied to individual and community health, including how we support programs to the very things that we're talking about right now. It's all tied together, and the focus is to improve community health. So that's why I say, like, you have this Shana from the hospital, these different tools that help streamline our focus to better understand where those priorities are, because $22 million sounds like a lot of money.
Mhm.
When we did the initial statement of interest, and which was another tool we used to try to evaluate what needs were, when we did that, we had over $40-50 million worth of requests for $22 million, right? So as mayor, I gotta figure out so that I'm not king of the hill just saying, forget about what folks want, this is what I want to do. This is my way, our way, to try to get our finger on that pulse so that we're at least as close as possible to it, that to those targets, to those specific targets.
Mhm. So it sounds like what you're saying, that 22 million in ARPA money, it has to, in everything, wherever it goes, it needs to address the health of the city. And we talk about the health of the city, the health of the residents
It's
here.
got to be, so the buzzwords are targeted,
Mhm.
specific, long-term impact.
Mhm.
Those are the three buckets we hope every proposal hits when they submit a proposal, so
Mhm.
that it's competitive. It's going to be a competitive process.
Mhm.
And so as long as you're hitting those buckets, those three expectations, we want to make sure that the proposals are aligned with advancing the top health needs in the community. And that's just our way. That's my way of trying to make sure that we're streamlining the resources so that we can move the needle just a little bit. Because honestly, Natalia, we've been talking about the same problem since I was a kid. And we really need to get Holyoke moving forward. We need to get past being looked at as this poor community that's incapable, neighborhoods and aren't improved, whatever the rumors, and somehow better dedicate our limited funds to things that are going to make real long-term impact, not short-term feel goods. So that's the what I was trying to accomplish. I don't know if it communicated as effectively as I'd hoped that day when I was there, but internally, just so that and the public knows, that's where our focus is.
Well, it seems to me, Mayor, that no matter what, you're either going to be seen as like the best mayor ever or wow, the worst mayor. It's like you can't win and you can't.
I'm not trying to win.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do, so you get what you plan for. So my experiences to date and the different things I've been involved with, even from being a kid, different programs and youth initiatives to community initiatives in my teenage and young adulthood, to working for the Housing Authority, to working at the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, working with our friends over at the Western Mass Public Health Institute. I've learned a lot about about community development and improving the quality of life. And so this is me just taking what I've learned and implementing that into my own community. So I'm not trying to win. I'm just trying to
I
execute
know.
what I learned to do.
It was a bad joke. It was a bad joke. I'm sorry.
No.
And
Because people feel that. People do feel that way. And it
Mhm.
comes with the territory. I get it.
Mm,
Those feelings and concerns by the public, they're inevitable, especially when you're the mayor of a community that's vastly different in every corner and you
yeah,
get one mayor.
yeah,
And, you know, you can't necessarily accommodate every perspective,
right.
but you can understand what those perspectives are
Mhm.
and use information and data to help you stay focused in those, you know, targeted specific areas to improve the quality of life for everybody.
As always, thank you very much.
That was it.
That's it, man. That's it.
That was great.
I'll
That's an
see you
easy
next
one.
month.
I'll see you next